On this show, we cover the mods, and believe me, they gave us all the action we could ask for.
I think they're just the most baddest, coolest cars to look at.
He looked at me like I was crazy, which I was anyway.
If all the wheels are lined up, the main part is the driver.
There's nothing like it. The Whelen Modified Tour goes green and down into turn number 1.
Well, I retired from racing in '82 and went to work for NASCAR the same day. Pretty much, and of course, I was living up north where we ran modifieds and was well aware of the fact that most of the weekly racing for modifieds was going away. I went to Bill France in probably '84 and asked him about that I'd like to start a modified tour, and he agreed with it. He looked at me like I was crazy, which I was anyway, but he agreed to do it, and NASCAR backed it all the way.
Here are the modifieds. These are road warriors right here, buddy.
Of course, obviously, there was people way back then that said this won't last either. But this here is something that did last. Whelen is now the main sponsor of the tour, and this year they stepped up considerably with their involvement with the modified tour, and it's solid as a rock.
He's on his way down the victory lane. Congratulations to Reggie Ruggiero.
The Reggie Ruggiero will take the win.
At that time, I was racing for Fiore, and we had just started racing the tour because we were basically a weekly fighter, you know, Stafford and Saturday at Riverside Park and Sunday at Monadnock Speedway. And all of a sudden they throw this tour thing in. Mario got a few sponsors and okay, we'll go tour racing. It was a step because I never raced Martinsville and all these other racetracks beyond our weekly racing. Luckily, we fared well out right off the bat, but the tour took off and it was doing okay. At that time, it was just like it is now. It was expensive because we weren't used to traveling, and the traveling got a lot of people because you had to get a bigger truck, a bigger trailer. We didn't have haulers like they have nowadays. We had a cube van with a trailer, and that was it. It just got expensive. You needed to get another engine because if you went to Martinsville, you needed an engine if something happened in practice. You know, went on and everybody got used to it, and they fared. They made it work.
From 1973 until 1980, Cook battled for the modified title each year with fellow Rome, New York resident Richie Evans.
Yeah, well, there's rivalries for winning, and there's just the bad guy and good guy. Probably one of the worst guys I raced with was Jimmy Spencer. He would rub you for nothing, and then you'd rub him back, and then he'd wreck you, and it was terrible because he was big, and he looked bad, but he was a teddy bear. He wasn't bad, you know. I wrecked Jeff Bodine at Riverside Park one night just because he got in my way. And, you know, it was just one of those things. But he was at my racetrack, you know, and he didn't belong there. So I'm sure Jerry has the same problem. I mean, him and Richie were buddies, but they would wreck each other on the racetrack, you know.
Yeah, we'd run wheel to wheel, or worse. Speaking of one of them at Martinsville, I was leading the race, and Richie was right on me. And they used to park the trailers on the outside of the wall to the track. And I'm thinking once going down through there, if he tries to get under me, I'm gonna load him right back up on his trailer. Now I did win that race. He didn't make it, so.
We're basically like a Indy type race car with Nerf bars on the side to protect the driver a little bit.
The way I see these cars now, they haven't changed that much. You could take a race car from 2009 and be competitive today. Race cars got wheels, shocks, springs. If all the wheels are lined up, you got the right weights, the main part is the driver. And when we first started racing the tour, we had fiberglass seats.
Yep.
That's how they went back then. That's what everybody had. I mean, to be honest with you, I wear hearing aids because when I first started racing, there was no radios, there was no earplugs. You just put a helmet on and went racing, and now I can't hear. But that's just part of what happened, the evolution of safety, you know. You got to protect your ears, you know. And then full face helmet, I didn't start wearing a full face helmet till 1990. I mean, I remember having a helmet, open face helmet with a D-ring with a strap around my arm to hold your head up. Now they got big seat supports and everything else.
And when them big seats came around, them guys said, oh, we can't get that in there. I said, well, you better figure it out. If you got to cut the roof off, you're going to run that seat.
Why I always say these guys are badass. It's in all my interviews.
Power steering? We didn't have power steering.
Yeah, it wasn't that stupid.
NASCAR and everybody in the series and the sport in general just always made sure let's learn from these issues. And, you know, I do feel really comfortable when you get in a race car now, that with all the safety that we have and everything NASCAR knows about trying to keep us safe. It's definitely something you're really appreciative of, and you just hope that they keep evolving, because there's always going to be that 1 in a million wreck that you're like, wow, we didn't think of that. So yeah, you just got to keep an open mind to always keep evolving.
For many, many years, the Modified Championship ran through this 5/8 mile racetrack here in Thompson, and this track is so rich in modified tradition, so rich in modified history.
I loved Thompson Speedway before they put the wall up. They used to have dirt piles, and you could run the whole racetrack. I mean, because the rubber balls wouldn't stay on the racetrack, they dwell out into the dirt. And you could run high, run low, and that was really good racing. That was my favorite racetrack. But then when they got the bigger tracks like Richmond and New Hampshire, I fell in love with those. They were fantastic.
I love all the tracks you just mentioned, but then I also grew up at Riverhead, so there's still that special place in my heart. You know, there's nothing like going to Riverhead and just beating and banging for 200 laps. And some of those bigger tracks, like you were saying, Loudon, Richmond, Martinsville, even Wilkesboro now are awesome. But number one is always going to be Thompson for me.
Martinsville, I don't know, there was something about that place where I could make my car roll that corner and be pointed down that straightaway. And I don't know if it was me, the car, the track, what it was, but I've got a bunch of them clocks. I've got 6 of them.
I drove modifieds. I've driven push cars. To be honest with you, these cars are way more faster and way more stable. They're just more fun, period, to drive.
It's the same thing with me. I mean, we could have went south. I knew enough people, and who knows what it would have been, you know, but you were leaving with something you were very successful in and going into the unknown where you didn't know what was going to happen. So, but that's why I stayed where I did, and even after I retired and went to work for NASCAR, modifieds were still right there on the top.
There's just nothing like them. The fans, the community in the Northeast, there's nothing like it. It's just a really good thing to be a part of, no matter what type of modified you're racing. And like I said, I have some opportunities now, but there's never going to be any place like the Whelen Modified Tour. That's my home. That's where I want to finish my career and hopefully win more races and contend for more championships. You know, there's nothing wrong with being a modified lifer, and that's what I'm hoping to be.